Hi everybody, welcome back to tnoozLIVE at the Aviation Festival, presented by JetBlue Technology Ventures and sponsored by Travel Air. My name's Martin Cowan, I'm Editorial Director for T-News. I've got 5 to 10 minutes to talk with Daniel Boyle, who's the Conference Director for the Global Aviation Festival. We've probably had a busy couple of days, couple of months in the build-up to this event.
Caught me right at the end of it so hopefully I have something to say at least.
Okay, so maybe just a nice gentle one to get you into this. I mean, so we've noticed that this event has become sort of quite high profile over the past couple of years. It came up a bit on the inside, and it's suddenly now a fairly well-established part of the conference circuit. I mean, so how has it sort of progressed from your perspective over the past couple of years?
Well, we started 15 years ago as the World Low Cost Airlines Congress, which was basically CEOs from LCCs like Michael O'Leary, Tony Fernandez, in a basement hotel, shouting at each other about revenue management and pricing.
Those were the days.
The good old days. The good old days. About 5-6 years ago, we saw that we were kind of limiting our market by just focusing on low-cost carriers. Also, there was starting to make waves in terms of digital technology, and there was a more significant investment in that area and passenger experience. So we identified that, and we also identified the fact that airlines are heavily siloed in the way they work. So we decided to base the event around that aspect of it and create these sessions that fit within the different profiles of these silos. So you may have the marketing team who often don't work directly with the revenue management team, which causes issues internally, of course, because if they're putting out an offer, the revenue management don't know about it, marketing, it causes problems. So we based that around how the airlines work, and we brought together these different profiles. And the last 5 years, we've added more and more. This year, we've added an AI stream because AI is, permeating every industry, but the airline industry, there's a big opportunity there to really cut costs, improve efficiencies, whether it's customer-facing or it's operational. So we added that in. We added the airport stream as well because we were kind of missing a big player in all of this, the on-the-ground experience, some might call it. So we connected the two, and it just keeps on growing and growing. And next year we've got some big plans as well.
Okay, I mean, I was just going to ask you what the future of the Global Aviation Festival. You don't want to sell the state secrets, but I mean, where do you see this event, progressing?
For us, we see it progressing in just in terms of the exhibition. When we started this event, we were maybe 10 exhibition stands. This year, we've got 150. So I think for us, it's figuring out how the exhibition can, be attractive to an audience when the companies that are exhibiting they're not traditional hardware suppliers, right? So they don't have a seat or a screen or something physical to show. It's a lot about software as a service. So it's really understanding how we can make that engaging for visitors who come to the expo. And in terms of the conference, we've had a great year this year. Obviously, we had CEOs from Emirates, from JetBlue, from EasyJet, which are a good pull. But we really want to drive that even further and get a good mix of carriers. There are some events that they're LCC events, some events that are full service events, and never the two shall mix sometimes. But I think we see ourselves as a digital event, so it's about digital aviation, and we need to bring those two players together.
Okay, so I mean, when you've been wandering around, is there anything that's you don't have to name names unless you want to, but is there anything that you found that's been particularly exciting that's made you go wow?
For me, some of the interesting ones maybe not as jazzy, they're not AR or VR or which is great to see, and it's great to see the applications that they can be used for. But I like a lot of the data stuff. How these technology companies are using data and pulling behind the curtain and seeing how they're trying to be more personalized and trying to connect with their passengers. There was a company on, I'm not going to name names, but on Wednesday that is a company that I was told by several airlines that they have to work with them because they're the first to get a certain type of data, and they just have to work with them. And I think that, and they didn't actually come from within the airline industry. Okay. So there's all these companies that are doing things outside that could be applied to this industry, but the airline industry is sometimes challenging to get into.
Yeah.
But because they had that sort of, that silver bullet, that product that the airlines had to have, they're doing very successfully.
And then one of the questions is, how do you get into the aviation industry? Well, the answer appears to be just have a really good idea.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've got something that the airlines want, then you can get into the aviation. Maybe people that are finding it hard to get into the aviation industry haven't really got that good an idea. So,
well, I think if you have no knowledge, previous knowledge of this industry, you're going to find it tough.
Yeah.
You need an experienced aviation head in your team, if not leading the team, because there's politics, there's regulation, there's personalities, and it's a great industry to be in. But for startups, I know it is incredibly challenging.
I know we've talked to quite a few sort of startups and sort of niche operators, and there seems to be a sort of an argument that you do need, airline geeks. You do people that need to know ATP, CO, and the nitty gritty of how the airline industry operates. But then you also need the data scientists who just see the data and do stuff with the data that just happens to be airline data. But you need the airline people to give
what we're
the airline
seeing
the
actually
context.
with airlines is they're hiring from outside the industry now. So I'm hoping in 3-4 years you're going to see the fruits of that. Come to the surface, because the industry has been very insular, and there are certain airlines, not to name any, that are still that way inclined, but most that want to stay in this industry are starting to think beyond that. A good example this week was Wizz Air announced their CDO, an airline which I never thought would have a chief digital officer, but that's a sign of the times.
Yeah. Okay, it is. Maybe you need an airline chief digital officer conference or track next time around. Listen, Daniel, I know it doesn't stop for you till the next couple of hours, so thanks very much for taking the time to join me. This is tnoozLIVE at the Global Aviation Festival, sponsored by JetBlue Technology Ventures and presented by Travelair. My name's Martin Cowan. I'll be back shortly. Thank you very much.